Hello and welcome everybody to Inside Presence. This is our November edition. By now you probably have read, or at least you will be reading, Tim's article regarding the election. And by the time you take a look at this, all those commercials to which Tim referred are going to finally be over, and we'll be able to watch television again. The question is, why is there so much negative energy that's out there when it comes to politics? Of course, the answer is because there's a lot of negative energy surrounding many institutional entities, even that, and especially that of religion as well. Why is it, though, that we're so conscious of this negative energy that's out there? Why is it that all of us agree, yes, the commercials are too negative. We're seeing too much negativity from the candidates. No one really wants to talk about the positive of what they stand for. They just want to talk about the things that they're against. So why is it that people still continue to do that? For one thing, we know that no one would spend millions of dollars on something that doesn't work. And so if we think about that for a second, the answer is obvious, that they're doing it because it works. Well, then the next question would be, why does it work? Why is all this negative advertising working? And the answer is because that's where most of our society is right now. That's the level of consciousness or understanding that most of society has, and that actually is having an impact on who receives votes and who doesn't receive votes. So at this point, I want to talk a little bit about levels of consciousness and where we're headed for presence. See, levels of consciousness have to do with viewpoint. Not that a particular viewpoint is good or bad, but rather it is just a way that we are seeing something. And how we see a particular issue is going to relate directly into how we relate to other people regarding that issue. And why does that make a difference? Well, I can turn off the television set and I don't have to watch that commercial if I don't want to. But that doesn't change the fact that I still have relationships with my family and with my friends and with community. And within those relationships, I will encounter the same type of negative energy with regard to certain subjects. Even further than that, I'll notice myself having negative energy, some days more than others. And then the questions are, where does that negative energy come from? And how is it that our point of view really does affect the way we deal with other people? I'm reminded of what Paul said when he wrote a letter to the people in Rome. And he said to the Gentiles there, you have a particular point of view. And within it is this negative energy toward the people of Israel. And specifically those in Israel that don't believe in Jesus the way that you believe in Jesus. And this negative energy that you have is not the all-in-all energy of love. Now, we as partners have come to an understanding of an all-in-all God, and that's greatly changed the way that we view other people. And Paul is reminding the Gentiles that at one time, they were not aware or conscious of the love of God through Christ either. And so Paul asks the Gentiles to think about this carefully rather than judge, to think of ways that they can contribute. Paul will to the people in Corinth say, the way that you contribute is the way you live on behalf of others. And so if we were to take this kind of energy and bring it to politics and then bring it to religion, think of the changes that might come. This is a need for us to have compassion toward others, for us to find ways to creatively give input to people who are expressing things in a very negative way, even if it is toward us. So now that we've talked a little bit about politics and religion, what could we add to this to spice it up? Well, how could we possibly make this any more of a volatile subject? Well, it is November. So I was thinking as I was putting this together, let's just add Thanksgiving. Why? Well, Thanksgiving is that time of year when we will all be sitting around a table with a big feast in front of us and a lot of different perspectives and viewpoints in every chair around the table. Not only will those be different viewpoints, but we'll be surrounded with the people that are most intimately involved in our lives. And those are the situations that can bring forth the greatest amount of energy, and yes, the greatest amount of negative energy. And I don't have to explain that any further for anyone that's had Thanksgiving dinner with a large group of friends and family. We know that it's always possible that a number of things are said, and from a number of different viewpoints. For those of you that are not in the United States, that may be in our neighboring countries of Canada or Mexico, or maybe Marcus out there in Switzerland, or Sonny Boy in South Africa, or Robert and Rita out in Australia, you may not be celebrating this particular holiday or even having elections in your country, but it translates, doesn't it? I mean, even if you're listening to this and you live in another country, you know about holidays and festivals where family comes together, and you know that the more different family members you have, the more different viewpoints you have. And you also know the way politics works in every country. Now, the reason that I bring this up is because within Presence, we are really going to be focusing with the launch of the new website on integral living, integral spirituality. So we will also have categories of study that involve integral theology. And we will talk about integral theory. What is that and what does it mean? This is not because in any way, shape, or form we intend to get away from the heart of the content of the biblical narrative. It's just the opposite. We intend to now go into the biblical narrative in a deeper way than we've ever gone before. And every one of you knows, as a partner who's been studying and meeting with us and us with you for all these many years, that when we very first, however many years ago this has been, when we very first stepped into this idea that God was all in all and that all things were fulfilled, didn't we all ask the question, now what? What does this mean? We're always looking for the meaning of the existence that we enjoy on this planet, and we want to make that existence even more meaningful and more enjoyable. And that is why you're going to see with the launch of this new website a real emphasis on integral thinking. And to do that, it means that we'll get into the theory of how humanity has thought from the beginning of time up until now, how religion is thought. Yes, politics, kingdoms, all of these were a part of the language of Jesus' everyday life, and Jesus came to enrich relationships. So I hope this November you can see a real improvement in the way that you're able to observe and see the way people express their viewpoints, the way in which you can creatively deal with a situation, which may mean that the most creative thing you can do is to remain silent. And then to also observe your own feelings during Thanksgiving, and to ask yourself, where are these feelings coming from? Why do I feel this way? Those are the types of things that integral consciousness, integral theology, and integral spirituality is going to focus on as we go into this next year of 2011, which is rolling right around the corner. So with that, I hope you have a great November, and I'm looking forward to us getting back together in December and seeing if there might possibly be anything else that we can talk about that has to do with family relationships and integral spirituality in the month of December. Have a great November, and we'll see you then.